Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome to yet another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. For the last few days, we are seeing about the various controllers, the various logical controllers in JMeter. So far, we saw about the if controller, the while controller, the loop controller, and the other controllers like once only, random, random order, interleave, simple and transaction controllers. So as part of the controllers list, today we are going to see about another interesting logical controller which is often widely used in performance testing whenever the testers are asked to achieve a particular throughput. And this particular controller helps the testers to achieve the throughput in an easy fashion. And also, this controller works in two different ways. So no more suspense. Today we are going to see about the throughput controller. So basically we define throughput as the hits per second, which means the number of hits that the tool or the tester sends to the server or to the application. So this actually works in a way that the test machine or the testing tool sends the request to the server using the tool. The other controllers are different from this particular throughput controller in a manner that the number of iterations were controlled, and also we can add the various other controllers as the parent controller to this throughput controller. So before we see them in detail, so we will see with various examples and we'll see how to add a throughput controller, how to design, how to easily use this throughput controller in various different manners. So today's session is going to be more interesting. So before we move to the video, this is me, Vasant Shanmugam. I welcome you all once again to this video and to our channel. Please do subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Like the video if it is really helpful to you. Share the video with your friends. Comment your questions and your feedback in the comment section. So with no further ado, we will go to the video. So like other controllers, to add it, we need a thread group. So we need a user, and for that, we will need to add a thread group. So to add a thread group, I right click on the test plan. I go to the add thread and the thread group. So now we have the thread group with us. And on this, we'll add the logic controller. So today we are going to see about the throughput controller. So I have added a throughput controller. And here we have two types of execution. So one is the percent execution and the other one is total execution. So the percent execution is something which causes the controller to execute a certain percentage of the iterations through the test plan. So this is the percent execution. So say for example, if we have different logical flows, for example, the first flow can be a user who logs in to the application who just searches the flights for a particular airport or for a particular destination. So that can be a particular percent. And some of the other users might need to book a flight. So for example, if 100% of users are executing an application, just 20% of the users will be booking the flights. And 50% of users will be searching for the flight, and the remaining users might look for the lost baggage if it is a flight domain. I'm just giving an example. And the other percentage of users might check their booking reference number, and few of the other users might do a web check-in. So not all the users will do the same set of actions at the same point of time. So every set of user will have their own actions at the same point of time. So that is where this percentage execution helps to navigate through the application to the testing. And then we have the second option, which is the total executions. So this total execution causes the controller to stop executing after a certain number of executions have occurred. So for this, I would bring an example where if we are working in a insurance domain where we might be approving some 100 to 200 claims at a particular point of time. Say, for example, if we are approving some 100 claims and if we are declining some 50 clients and we are requesting for more documents for some 30 users. So these level of executions is possible because we don't know the percentage execution here, but we have the number of executions that we want to achieve. So that is possible through this total executions. In fact, if you see in few of my videos in the near load where we have only the percentage execution in the population, and to give the exact number we have to do that in the scenario settings. So that is possible here in the same place. So we can actually use it both in the percentage and in the total executions. And to our surprise, we can even use both the total executions and the percentage executions in the same testing. So I will show that how to do it in a test. And then we have various other options. So we can add the other controllers as the parent controller to this particular throughput controller. So let's now start creating and let's see how it works. So I'm adding a sampler. I'm adding HTTP request here, and then to see how does it work, so we'll add a view results tree. Let me bring it outside. So I'm adding a view results tree from the listener. Then I will add a summary report. So this will actually help us to see how many requests has been hit during the test. And let's define this here. So now we have a throughput controller and we have a HTTP request. Let's change. Okay, let's have it. So let's do the execution and see how does it work. So for now we have one user, sorry, one thread with one user, and we have the throughput here. So let's see. So we'll have one loop count and we have 20 executions. So this is how most of us do a common mistake. Let me show it to you. Let's see what happens. So we have one user with one thread group, and here I have 20 throughput and I'm running the test now. Let's see what happens. So even though we have 20 as the number of executions that has to execute, since we have only one in the loop count, and that is the reason we could see only one request here. So this is what we have to do if we are giving the throughput number here. What we have to do is we have to change it to infinite. So this will actually give the controller control, or this will actually give a more rights to this throughput controller to get controlled. So let's see how does this work now. So here we could see we have got 20 executions, 20 number of executions. So that's how it works. So let me reduce it and see how much does it. So here we could see 20 requests has got executed, and the main reason is we have make it to infinite, and then we have given the count here which was 20 initially, so it was 10 20. Let's run another test with 10. So here we could see 10 iterations have got executed, and it is totally because we have given 10 under the total executions. So now let's increase the thread group to 2 user, and let's now do another test and see how does it execute. So here we could see 2 users with 10 throughput. We have got 20 hits. So this is how the throughput controller works. So it actually controls the number of executions for any number of users. So now let's change it to the other execution, which is the percent execution. So to do that, we will need to add another test. So we'll change the name to throughput request 2 here, and we will change the percentage here. So here both of them are percentage executions, and we will change this to 30%. So the first request will be executed 30% of the total number of times, and then the remaining is going to be 70. And here let's change it to 1. And again, there is a risk when we were executing with percent executions, we might need to change the infinite to finite, because if we are running the percent executions with infinite, there is no logic to stop the testing, or there is no logic to end the test until otherwise we specify the thread lifetime. So we have to be careful while defining the test and while defining the throughput controller. So let's now see. So we have one user with 10 thread, and we have two throughput controllers, the first one with 30% and the second one with 70%. So let's now run the test and see how does it work. So here we could see it has started with the highest percentage. It will, even though the thread group has started with throughput controller 1 and then 2, but due to the high weightage, or due to the high weight that we have given, the high throughput that we have given to the second request, automatically the 70% has got executed first, and based on that it has continued its execution. So here we can see out of 10 executions, since we have defined 70 and 30, it comes to 7 and 3, and totally we have got 10 executions executed. So let's increase the count and see how does it work. So I have increased the count to 20, and here we could see it as 14 and 6. So let's change the number to a different set, which is 23, and let's see how does it execute, which is not a even separation, but still the test has got executed and the total number has got completed with the 20, with the 30, 70 breakup. So let's add one more controller, one more duplicate of the controller, and we will change the request to 3, and we will see how does the multiple percentage works. So here we have 30, here we have, let's change it to 10, and the remaining we have 30, 10, the remaining is going to be 60. And let's execute the test. So we have, let's change it to 20 request. Let's execute and see how does the test works. So since we have the total of 20 requests, we have achieved it in a ratio of 3:1:6. So this is 3:1:6. So we have got 12, 6 and 2 requests. So that's how the test works. So the throughput controller works. So say for example, what if we don't define this in a proper manner? Say for example, if we are totally covering 100%, what if we don't cover it properly? Let's see how does it work. So for example, if we have 30 here, 30%, we have 10% here, and let's change it to 40%. So let's see how does it work. So here we could see the third request has got 8 requests since it was set up only up to 40. So whatever percentage we are giving here will be executed irrespective of the total number of percentage. So it actually takes the total from this number, the 20, and then out of 20 it executes 40%. And that is how the breakup of the percentage works. Say for example, what if we execute it to 100%? So let's see how does it work. So here we could see the total request is 20 and we have given 100% here, and we were able to achieve the 100% of the testing. So this percentage is not a breakup of the percentage that we have here. So this percentage is going to be the total percentage from the finite number of loop that we are giving here. So we have to be very careful, and actually we can take advantage of this and we can execute it in any manner that we require. This gives us a lot of flexibility to do the test. So now I'm running with 2 users and see how does it work. So yes, we were able to achieve the number of iterations and the number of throughput that we want to test. So now let's see. So we have 2% executions, and let's change this particular to total executions. So let's have it as 10 and let's see how does it work. Whether we were able to achieve 10 requests for the second user, because in not every scenario we'll have the same set of settings to do the test. So here we could see the total request 2, which has got 10. So since we have got 2 users, we were able to achieve 20. So just 10 for each user. So totally we have got 20. So yes, the combination of the percent executions and the total executions also do work. Okay, so let's now go to the little advanced level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another, I'm going to duplicate it, another controller. So let's change this to 4th request. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a controller to it. So I'm going to add a interleave controller. So now I have an interleave controller, and I will duplicate some more request inside the duplicate controller. So this is going to be interleave throughput request, and let's see how does this work, because this will actually help us to make more value to the script, and this will actually give us a lot of flexibility to run the test. So we have the interleave controller here, and let me add a throughput controller as a parent. So the logic is going to be, I have a throughput controller under the interleave controller. So instead of adding, I just changed it. So let me add a throughput controller here, and I will move all these to the throughput controller. So now I have a throughput controller with 3 different requests, and on top of the throughput controller I have an interleave controller. So let's see how does it work. So this throughput controller, so it is in a percent breakup. So let me add a percent of 50 per user, and let's see how does this execute and how does this work. So here we could see 50% of the 20 is 10. So we have got for 2 user, we have got 20 requests for the 4th, 5th and the 6th request. And let's see in what order do they execute. So here we could see in order where it has got executed after the 3rd request for the interleave. So if you don't have any idea on what is interleave request, you can even check my previous videos on how does the interleave works and what is the difference between the interleave and various other controllers. So we were able to achieve the number of hits that we require. So let's now change it to another controller, which is the once only controller, and let's see how does it work. So now we have a throughput controller under the once only controller, and let's now execute the test and see how does it work. So here the once only controller has not even executed, and that is how the once only controller works when a throughput controller is put inside the once only controller. And let's now change this controller to a random controller and let's see how does it work. So now we have a throughput controller under a random controller, and let's change the total execution. So let's keep it as 10 for now and let's see how does it work. So I'm clearing it out and let's see how does it work. So here again we could see that we were able to achieve the number of hits that we require even though they are under the random controller. Since we have got 20 iterations here, 20 iterations, and we have got the enough number of hits. So we could see here that the throughput is going to be 10, and for the random controller, so the total iterations has to be 20. So each of these requests has got executed once, and that is how we are able to achieve 20 iterations. And let's now change the controller to random order and see how does this execute. So in the previous random, we have got all the requests executed. So now we have changed it to random order controller. Let me change this to random order. So this is going to be the random order throughput request. And let's execute the test and see how does this random order controller works as a parent of a throughput controller. So here also we were able to achieve the 20 requests that we have got with the random controller. So that's how the throughput controller works with the percent executions and the total executions, and also it is getting distributed between different user groups. And if so, just a quick recap. So first we have added a thread group to add a throughput controller, and then we have added the throughput controller, and then we have added the request inside. And initially we started the test with one user and few threads, but we were not able to achieve it since the throughput was override by the number of iterations here. So we have changed it to infinite, and then we were able to achieve the number of throughput we have got. And then we have changed the test to percent execution. So with that, we were able to achieve the percentage of execution, so the percentage of hits that we expected. And then we have added multiple throughput controllers, and then we were able to achieve the breakup of the number of requests that we expected. And then we have added various controllers as a parent controller through the throughput controller, like the interleave, random, once only, and random order controller. And we were able to see what level of executions and what number of executions we require, and we were able to achieve that. So I think this video would be very useful to you. So with another video, we'll meet you very soon. So till then, it's bye-bye from Vasant Shanmugam and Little Slaw. Thank you so much. Please do subscribe to our channel, like and share the video with your friends. Till then, it's bye-bye from Vasant Shanmugam and Little Slaw.